What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'll be bringing you my 2020 fantasy football rankings, and today we're going to start with my top 12 running backs. Now, the running back group this year is a very weird one, and I waited till after the draft just to see if there's any rookies that could come in and make an impact. Receiver, there's not too many that really, instantly come in and make a top 12 presence, where on my list, there's going to be one running back that makes the top 12. But I just wanted to bring this after the draft, like I said, and let's get right into it. This is for PPR leagues and half-point PPR. It's the ESPN standard, so I decided might as well go with it because I'm sure ESPN's the highest, played platform when it comes to fantasy football. And I want to preface this before I start. The 1, 2, and 3 guys, I really can't make an argument for you not picking Sacrum Barclay or not picking Christian McCaffrey or not picking Ezekiel Elliott. Those are going to be my top 3 guys, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on them, but, I'm going to talk about them, but let's just get right into it. So my number 1 is going to be Christian McCaffrey. Now, I can't see a situation in where he doesn't finish top 5 at the RB position, right? Outside of an injury, of course. He finished 2019, almost 300 attempts, almost 1,400 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns, 116 targets or receptions, over 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. 19 total touchdowns, over 2,000 total yards, almost 2,400 yards. That's just ridiculous, right? And, I was just looking, and if you took his 2018 stats, which he had almost 1,100 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, over 100, almost 110 receptions, and about 900 receiving yards, so about 1,900 total yards, about 2,000 actually. If you took those stats and put them with this year's running back class, Christian McCaffrey still would have finished number 1. It didn't even matter. Christian McCaffrey, that's his 2018 stats. 2019, just this previous season, he did even crazier numbers. I think the only person that outscored him was Lamar Jackson. So, Christian McCaffrey to me, he's just safe. Even if he regresses to his 2018, which is possible. Who knows if they bring in another running back or, after the draft, but who knows? Who knows what they do. Even if they bring someone else in, I don't see a way McCaffrey doesn't get 90 to 100 receptions, rushing for nearly 1,000 yards, going to get probably anywhere from 6 to 10 touchdowns on the ground, 3 to 4 through the air. It's just, he seems foolproof. Even in the worst case scenario, even if Teddy Bridgewater sucks, he's going to be fine. He did it with Kyle Allen, did it with Cam Newton, did it with all these other quarterbacks. I don't see why he can't do it with Teddy Bridgewater. And relating him to Saquon, who's my number 2, he hasn't gotten injured. Christian McCaffrey's been healthy every year. Saquon regressed a little bit last year, still played good, but regressed, and he missed games. So I'm just gonna stick with what's hot, and that's Christian McCaffrey. I just think that makes the most sense. Moving on to my number 2, it's Sacrum Barclay, right? I think he is the overall most talented running back in the game. He's the guy that I think can straight up run for 2,000 yards. He could be the next guy. But you got to worry about a couple things. Daniel Jones. Is Daniel Jones the answer, right? He threw 24 touchdowns last year, and their offense is pretty functional, but, the offensive line was terrible. They drafted an offensive line this year in the draft in the first round, and, it should be a good offense. They could be like a sleeper offense this year. I don't know. I need Barkley to ball out all the time, because I was looking at his numbers as well, and he's great, but he finished inside the top 12, so, from running back 1 to 12 in each individual given week 6 times. So he did pretty good, There's 3 times he finished 13th through 24. So 9 times out of his 13 games, because he missed 3 due to injury, he was a top 2 or RB2 or better. So he finished, 24th at the position or better. And of course, for Sacrum Barclay, we need him finishing as a number 1, which he did at 6 times. But, when he didn't do that, he finished outside the top 24. He finished the week he was RB 38, 29, 26, 35. So, he has some dud weeks where I think Christian McCaffrey only did that 1 time. But like I said, Sacrum Barclay, super great. And, I don't want to spend a ton of time on these guys because they're awesome. They're all, I can make an argument anyway for any of these guys being top 3. Ezekiel Elliott is my number 3. He finished finished third overall at running back in PPR leagues last year. Was consistent. He never hurt you, really. He only finished 1 week outside of the top 24, and that was the 26th position, so it's not even like he killed you that week. The safe O-line, Travis Frederick retired, which, I think he had some blood disease, I believe, so I don't blame him. But, Zeke's great, and I don't think Zeke's going to, really drop in value. I don't think his stats are really going to go down. But, he's just consistent. He never really won you a week, I would say. I mean, when he finished top 12, which he did 9 times, which is super consistent. I mean, he finished 7th, 5th, 4th, 6th, 9th, 7th, 8th, 4th, 5th. So he never finished top 3 in a week, which is okay, but you expect your top 3, overall pick to kind of carry you in a week, where if you kind of miss on receiver, Christian McCaffrey last year, he carried you to victories. When the rest of your team didn't do well, Christian McCaffrey busted out a 45-point game and saved your week, where Ezekiel Elliott, he got you 24, which is good, but it's not the booms that you get from the other guys. Number 4 on my list, and this is just a guy I can't quit, man. It's Alvin Kamara. Now, people are going to crucify me for this. They're going to kill me for saying Alvin Kamara over, the likes of like Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry, and I'm sure there's others. I think Alvin Kamara is the most versatile player, one of the most versatile players in the entire NFL. He hasn't totally put together an amazing season yet. He's been hurt a few times, and he's never really gotten enough touches to really put together the bang season, the big season. He's always put together pretty good seasons, but never put together the great season. And last year, he finished like a top 12 running back 6 times, finished top 24 to 13 to 24 5 times. And he did have a number 1 performance where he finished the best in the week. So he has those boom weeks. But in the weeks when he didn't finish as a top, RB1 or RB2 in the given week, 43rd, 25th, which isn't that, it's one off, and 53rd. So when he killed you, and he missed week 7 and 8, and he came back, and that was a story last year. Was he healthy? Was he not healthy? He came back from a high ankle sprain. Ankle sprains are the worst. I don't know. I don't know. So, but this is Drew Brees last year, and this is me kind of just whatever, but they need to let him go. They need to let Alvin Kamara completely off the chain and go. It's Drew Brees' last year, probably. Maybe one more, but they have to just let him off. Don't hold him back. Give him 250 carries in a season and let him catch, he's caught 81 passes every year. Each year, individually, 81. So 81. He's going to be over 100 yards or 100 catches in a season if you let him go and let him really, take hold of the offense. Of course, you have Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and it seems like this is going to be their year to make the run. It has to come now. So I think Alvin Kamara is a great player. And he's probably the last, elite player, I would say, talent-wise, where it kind of dips is Dalvin Cook. I think Dalvin Cook might be an elite fantasy football option, and there's a difference. There is a difference with that. Dalvin Cook is my number 5, and I don't want Cook here. I got to be honest. When I went through his film, not that I wasn't impressed, but I thought he was a lot better because of the numbers. The dude's got the best acceleration in the entire NFL. Easy. Kirk Cousins pitches it to him. He hits the corner better than anybody. Faster, quicker. And what I noticed is he doesn't have moves, right? He doesn't get to the second level and do a little shake, beat the safety, and run. That's what Christian McCaffrey does. That's what Sacrum Barclay does. That is not what Dalvin Cook does. Dalvin Cook, he's so quick and can change speeds so fast, like north-south, that he can make a safety, misjudge, or a corner coming in, or a linebacker. He can take off and make the corner miss. That's how he does it. And he's pretty good at breaking arm tackles too, so it's just a good mixture. But with Dalvin Cook, injuries. Injuries are a big issue here. The dude's missed 19 possible games in 3 seasons, missed almost a full season. I think he only played 4 games the 1 year. And I'm worried about Kevin Stefanski leaving. That system seemed to work for him last year, and that was his breakout. Kevin Stefanski went from offense coordinator to Cleveland Browns head coach. So, I worry about Dalvin Cook a little bit and see what kind of factor that Alexander Mattison could play. If, Dalvin Cook's been hurt, maybe they want to play Mattison more and make it more of a split backfield, or at least knock down his touches a little bit towards Mattison. And number 6, this one too, this is where running back for me gets a little shaky because there's just guys that I don't know. There's a lot of names coming up that I'm unsure what to think about. And this is a name that I think I'm going to be changing. I don't know. It felt right to me, but it's one that I don't know if it's going to stick. And it's Josh Jacobs. Now, I think Josh Jacobs is Joe Mixon. I think they're like pretty similar players. I think Joe Mixon is a little bit faster and has a little bit more start and stop. But Josh Jacobs, the one thing I wish he had was the ability to break tackles, and he just kind of doesn't always have it. He's a bigger dude, like he's short, but he's heavy, but he doesn't really have the thump, He has really good ball vision. Like, he's a good ball carrier. He has great vision. He constantly, you'll see him on stretch plays, cut it back. There's a touchdown against the Bears where, he went off down the left end. He cut all the way back and went between the center and the tackle, or center and the guard, and took it right up the middle for a touchdown. It was a great play that I don't think a lot of running backs would see that hole. I think they would keep drifting outside and maybe try to find a gap there. He stopped, cut up, and ran for a touchdown. And he's actually pretty good at the goal line for not being a thumper. He's went over the top a few times. The one thing with him is, he gets the workload. He gets the ball. 15 or more attempts in a game. He's had that 10 times out of 13 games. So, in 10 of his 13 games, because he missed 3 games due to injury, he had 15 or more attempts. I think that's a pretty solid number. It could go higher than that, but, I think if you get 15 touches from your running back or 15 attempts, that's pretty solid, especially for him not being your number 1 overall pick. He's going to probably be the end of a first round guy. I think, like I said, great vision with acceleration, but he's kind of like Dalvin Cook. He doesn't have that shimmy or, shake that, and I think that holds him back a little bit from being truly elite. And he only caught 20 balls his rookie season, but the Raiders did let DeAndre Washington go to the Chiefs, and he caught 36 passes, and they have Jalen Richard there who caught 36 passes as well. So that opens up some, pass catching for him. I feel pretty confident that if they don't really bring anyone else in, which there's not a lot of, people left on free agency because I don't believe they drafted anyone. Maybe Devonta Freeman would be the only guy, and Frank Gore seem like the only 2 options that are really still there that could be, jump right in and play. I feel confident with him getting 250, 275 touches, if he can stay healthy. He had a bum shoulder for a lot of the year. That could have been the lack of his thump. Maybe he had a bad shoulder, so he didn't really want to, lower and plow into guys. Who knows? But Josh Jacobs at my number 6. All right, and then here's another name that I think people are going to kill me for. It's number 7, Todd Gurley. Now, Todd Gurley, I was a huge fan of him last year, and I was pretty high on him, and he disappointed. He only finished with about 800, a little bit over 800 rushing yards, caught like 30 passes from his previous year where he caught about 60, and he disappointed. He bailed out, fantasy owners with 12 touchdowns on the ground. I believe he had 3 or 4 through the air. So I think he finished the year with 15. So he really bailed you out with touchdowns. But I still think he's a great player. I think the Rams line got bad really quick, and they didn't know how to adjust for it. But I will also say the Falcons line's not very good. They were almost last year in rushing, the Falcons as a team, and I don't totally blame that on the line. It probably is a lot of the line, but they didn't really have a lot of talent. Devonta Freeman missed games last year too. They had Quadri Olson, who played at Pitt. I think he was like a 5th round pick. I'm not even sure who else. They had another running back, so I can't even think of his name right now, but he got hurt with, I believe, a neck injury. So, they ran the ball like only 30% of the time, if that, I think. So, I don't know, but I just feel so confident in Todd Gurley. I try not to base my analysis, and my rankings completely on situation because who knows? Todd Gurley is a perfect example. Who thought the Rams' offensive line would get terrible last year and he'd be horrible? No one. No one thought that in a million years. But it happened, and, I don't know. He still did okay for what he was given, but it wasn't much. And I don't think he's hurt. I don't think it's his knees. I think the Rams just said, we're not giving you a lot of touches because we're going to try to make a playoff push. And then they realized, we're not that good, so then let's give Gurley the ball. And then it was too late. He missed a game due to injury, but I don't know. I just think Todd Gurley's still great. I think he's one of the best overall players, too. He's one of the tops. I mean, he has the quickness, the speed, the strength, and he doesn't have quite the shimmy, like I said, at the next level, which is kind of my gripe with a lot of guys. But I mean, we've seen him be a beast, and if they give him receptions out of the backfield and things like that, I don't see why not. Why can't he be great? Why can't he finish as a top 10 back this year, top 5 if he gets a lot of touchdowns? I mean, he's great on the goal line. I mean, he had 12 rushing touchdowns last year. That's not fluky. That's Todd Gurley being a beast. So I like Todd Gurley number 7. Number 8, another guy I freaking hate. I hate Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry's my number 8. I think he's just a completely one-dimensional player. Terrible acceleration, so many negative plays that go for no yards, but then he breaks one and he's gone, and it's too hard to be like that. It's hard to be hit or miss, and like I just don't see it repeating. He had a great season, led the league in rushing and attempts, and I think maybe rushing touchdowns. And the Titans' whole 2019 season with the whole benching Marcus Mariota, then Ryan Tannehill comes in, saves the season, then make playoffs, go on a playoff run. It just seems fluky. It doesn't seem legit to me. And we know he doesn't catch passes. But the reason I like him at 8, I guess, I don't know if I really like him there, but the reason I kind of like him is he does seem like he could do the Todd Gurley season from last year. Finishes with maybe a little bit under 1,000. He's going to be pushing 10 touchdowns, most likely, and those save you. Touchdowns do save you. If he could put together 1,000 yards and 10 to 12 touchdowns, it's possible. I mean, he can save his season like that. We just saw Mark Ingram do it last year too. Mark Ingram barely ran for 1,000 yards, caught only 20 passes, I believe, in the year, 20 or 25 passes. 5 of them were touchdowns, which is not realistic, but he had 10 on the ground. So, and he finishes a top 10 back. So if Derrick Henry can do that again, he's going to be the goal line guy. It's not like they're going to put in, I don't even know who their backup is anymore because they don't have Deion Lewis. So, 12 touchdowns, 16 touchdowns the past 2 seasons. So 28 touchdowns in 2 years. I just think that's repeatable. The yardage, I don't think it is. And number 9, Austin Ekeler. This one's a little weird too. This is where it starts to get real sketchy because at number 9, like I said, Austin Ekeler, I mean, he has the lead role in LA, right? I mean, they drafted Josh Kelly, I believe is his name. Joshua Kelly in the 4th round. I don't know if he plays. I thought Ronald Jones was going to play right away, and he didn't. I thought, I thought Sonny Michel was going to be pretty good. He wasn't. He didn't really play great. I just, you thought all these rookies were going to be great, and they're not. So who knows? Josh Kelly could be something, could not be something. And they have Justin Jackson there, but he didn't. He's been okay, but he hasn't been, anything special. So, Austin Ekeler kind of steps into the main role. I think he's a little safe too, but kind of the opposite of what Derrick Henry is. Not touchdowns, but receptions. I mean, 91 receptions last year. And Tyrod Taylor can run the read option, which can open up rushing attacks. Who knows? I just like Austin Ekeler as a player. I think he's pretty shifty. No power really, but I mean, he's a great pass catcher. And I mean, that situation, do you see them throwing downfield a ton? I mean, Tyrod Taylor, if Tyrod Taylor sucks, let's just say, and he gets Baker Mayfield, but by rookie Justin Herbert, it could be a bad situation, either quarterback, either way. And Ekeler could be the check down guy. He can be the screen pass, catch, 8 to 10 passes a game. It can happen. It could happen. I could see that. And, he had 91 catches in 2019, and Melvin Gordon was there. He split a backfield. So even if he does the same, where he splits a backfield with Justin Jackson, Joshua Kelly, whoever they bring in, I don't see a way where he plays second fiddle or he doesn't get at least 800 rushing yards and over 80 catches. It just doesn't seem like it's likely to me. So that's kind of why I like Austin Ekeler. And the catches didn't really go down when Gordon came back. Weeks 1 through 4 with no Gordon, it's only 4 weeks, but he caught 6 passes a game. The remaining weeks with Gordon, 5.66, so it went down half a catch. If Ekeler can get his snap percentage up, because it dropped a lot when Gordon came back, but if he can get his snap percentage up to the 75-80 range, I like Austin Ekeler there as my number 9 fantasy option. Number 10, So my number 10, I have Joe Mixon. Now, Joe Mixon is a weird one too because he started off the season horrible, droppable. Your first round pick, end of the first, middle, maybe second round, early second, dropped. You could have dropped him, and I think some people might have in shallow leagues. Weeks 1 through 8, right? These are his stats. 1 through 8, he had 101 carries for 320 yards, no touchdowns, 19 catches, averaged 3.17 yards a game per carry. So per carry, he averaged 3.1 yards, 3.2 from being generous, and only had one game over 67 yards rushing. Right at weeks 9 through 17, so the remaining season, 177 carries. So his carries went up by 70. 817 yards. Improved by about 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, 16 catches, which is about the same to 19, but had 5 touchdowns, 4.6 yards a carry. That's not a slouch. That's no scrub. Only 2 games in that from weeks 9 to 17. Only 2 games under 67 yards rushing, and he had 3 or 4 over 100. So there's still no one there to battle for touches. They didn't draft anybody again. Giovanni Bernard's there, but last year he only had, I think, 50 rushes and 30 catches. So if Joe Burrow can utilize, that could be another good offense. Maybe not great because Joe Burrow's a rookie and they just cut Andy Dalton today, actually. But if Joe Burrow can come in and be decent and put up anywhere like Daniel Jones where he threw 24 touchdowns, that the offense could be functional. Keep saying that weird. Functional. And if that offense is, then I don't see why Joe Mixon can't, be. He's a great talent. I think he's a very good player. He's the one guy, too. He has everything but the shimmy at the safeties that keeps him from being elite, I think. I think he has the great vision. He has the patience behind the line. He didn't get to show it off last year because there's nowhere for him to go, but Joe Mixon's a great player, and he can get more utilized in the pass-catching game. He's good. He's a good pass catcher. He's kind of like him and Josh Jacobs, I'm telling you. They're pretty similar players. I just think, the situation is worse than it is in Oakland, so that's why Joe Mixon's a little bit lower on my list. But like I said, if Joe Burrow can utilize his weapons, they still got A.J. Green coming back from injury. Auden Tate played pretty well last year. Tyler Boyd's great. They drafted T. Higgins as a rookie. It could be a pretty decent offense. Number 11, Nick Chubb. Now, Nick Chubb was a lot higher on my list. I believe I had him at 5 or 6. Before I didn't know if Kareem Hunt was going to come back. I assumed he wasn't. So with Nick Chubb at number 11, and Kareem Hunt there, it's a scary situation. Nick Chubb is a fantastic player. He's one of the strongest. He can break a ton of tackles. He's another guy that has the great vision, the great acceleration, not the best top end speed, but he can. He hits big plays. He's a fantastic player. I'm a big fan of his. How he plays. But it sucks because we wish Kareem Hunt left and got his own job somewhere. Kevin Stefanski ran the 2 RB system in Minnesota. It was mostly Dalvin Cook, but Alexander Mattison did sprinkle in now and again. So what's that going to be like with an even better player than Alexander Mattison and Kareem Hunt? We don't know. And I still believe Nick Chubb is a better player than Kareem Hunt. I like Kareem Hunt a lot as a player, but I think Chubb's still a little bit better. And we know he's not going to do a lot in the receiving game because that's kind of Hunt's area. That's what Hunt's kind of there for. They don't need a goal line back. They don't need a pure, they don't need the bell cow. That's what Chubb is. They need the pass catching, and that's what Kareem Hunt's going to step in and do. So I don't know. I still like Nick Chubb. I think the offense is destined for a bounce back. It wasn't horrible last year. It got really overblown with Baker throwing a lot of interceptions. I think the offensive line was terrible. Greg Robinson was, I believe, their left tackle. Horrible. He's the worst tackle probably in the league. Terrible. And they drafted a rookie, and I don't know. They're going to run it back with Odell. They didn't trade him yet. If they're going to, Jarvis Landry's still there. They picked up Austin Hooper, free agency, the highest paid tight end in the league. Njoku comes back for another season. They picked up his option, I believe. I think, or he's still on the team, whatever. But they're running it back. And I think that Nick Chubb, if the offense kind of picks it up, he could be in a great situation for touchdowns. It's up to Baker Mayfield, I think, to really put it all together and kind of return to his rookie year where he didn't throw, 20 plus interceptions like he did this past season. So Nick Chubb at number 11. And I had a 2-way tie for number 12. My last one we're going to talk about today. And this might change. I don't know. I'm still kind of evaluating it. It's tough. But I really like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back for the Chiefs now, was at LSU. On the channel, I did scouting reports on Joe Burrow, right? So I had to watch their games. I watched every single play that Joe Burrow threw, or, and I watched mostly the whole games. And I was amazed by Clyde EdwardsHelaire. I thought he was amazing. He does the Kareem Hunt thing where, man, he just gets hit, but he doesn't go down. He bounces off tackles. He's pretty quick. He doesn't have the greatest top end speed, and he's a good pass catcher, even though he's 5'8", and he looks like he's a big dude because he's so small and not chubby, but stocky. But he can do it. He doesn't look like your really small, skinny running back. He doesn't look like a Jalen Richard coming out of the backfield. Or Austin Ekeler's really small. He's not that. He's a thick dude. And, I heard people say MJD is a comparison, and maybe, but I don't know. I just like the player. And this one is where situation really bakes into it because, dude, that Chiefs offense, that's the golden ticket. It's the best offense in the league. Who's their running back? Damian Williams? I don't trust Damian Williams. Damian Williams has burned us for the last 2 years, right? LaShawn McCoy's gone, I'm pretty sure. You have DeAndre Washington, but what he hasn't done anything really in the NFL. I don't even know who else is on that roster. Maybe Darrell Henderson or Darrell Thompson, I think is his name. So I don't know. I just think Clyde EdwardsHelaire is a good player that can catch out of the backfield and could be a great goal line back for this offense. I don't see why not. He's another guy that maybe he won't rush for 1,500 yards, but if he can luck in with a great offense to 10 touchdowns, that's fantasy relevant. He doesn't have to be the greatest player to luck into 10, 12 touchdowns. We see it, like we said, we see it every year. So I like Clyde EdwardsHelaire, and it was between him and Melvin Gordon. I think Melvin Gordon's getting very overlooked. Denver, maybe they're worried about, he's going to be my 13, so he'll be on the next list on the next video we do, but maybe Melvin Gordon's getting overlooked a little bit because of Phillip Lindsay, but I just think Melvin Gordon's a better player than Phillip Lindsay and can be a true bell cow when Lindsay probably can't. And maybe they're worried about the split where they think Clyde EdwardsHelaire might have the full workload to himself, but I don't know. So I like him. And like I said, Melvin Gordon's my 13. We see him be great. So, but that's it. I'm sure everyone's going to complain about my list because Todd Gurley at number 7 is pretty ridiculous, and Derrick Henry all the way, I believe, number 8. Yeah, number 8. I don't know. I've been looking at some lists, and I see Kenyon Drake really high, and I've seen Le'Veon Bell a little bit higher, and I can't really buy into it. I still think that Le'Veon Bell's a good player, and Kenyon Drake still I think he's a good player, but I don't know. I just feel way more comfortable with these guys compared to them. And and then a lot of these guys too, I've seen them do it. None of these guys really changed a lot necessarily. Dalvin Cook still with the same team. McCaffrey, Zeke, all these guys are still with the same team. Different head coaches there, but still with the same team and same, everything. I don't know. And I don't know if I trust a guy that's totally switching teams, and Kenyon Drake had, he had 3 or 4 really big games that saved his fantasy season. He had a game where he scored 4 touchdowns. Kenyon Drake's not doing that all the time. So I don't know, but yeah, that's my list. Let me know what you guys think down below, what my list should have been, who you don't like, who you think should be higher or lower. And tweet at me at EvankTheTank. It'll be in the description below, or I'll probably put a card at the top of the screen. But like I said, thank you guys so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for giving me so much love in my other videos. I did scouting videos before the draft, and my Jacob Eason one got 60 views, which isn't a ton, but 60 views in 2 days out of nowhere. It just blew it for 60, which, like I said, it's not huge compared to all these other guys, but it's big for me who have 15 subscribers, so. But anyway, thank you guys again for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. Hit me up on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you guys next time.